Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today we are going to do chemistry, Cambridge IGCSE Chemistry 0620 paper 2 variant 1 MCQs February March 2024. Let's start with question number 1. A solid X is heated for 600 seconds. The graph shows the heating curve that is obtained. Okay. What is the melting point of X? So as they have already mentioned that it is a solid, right? The solid is being heated, so it's a solid over here. And at this temperature, it is going to melt. So at this temperature, it stays both solid and uh, liquid, and then it is going to uh, grow, and then we have a liquid. So that is the melting point. So if you see the melting point, it is going to be 170. So it means A, C, and D are wrong, and D is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, MCQ number 2, which statement about diffusion are correct? Aquaside cannot diffuse in water. Is it correct or wrong? It's wrong. Aquaside diffuse in water, right? So first is wrong. Diffusion caused by the random movement of particles. Yes, it is. Particles spread out in all direction. Yes. Diffusion can only takes place in solids and liquids. No, wrong. So first and fourth is wrong. So if first is wrong and fourth is wrong, which makes A, B, and D wrong. So C is the correct answer. Is this understandable? Now, MCQ number 3, which statement about an atom of fluorine is correct? Okay. So it contains total of 28 protons, neutrons, and electrons. Okay. So if you see fluorine has 9 protons, 9 electrons, and 10 neutrons. So if you add them, it's 9 plus 9 plus 10. So 9 plus 9 is 18, 18 plus 10 is 28. So it seems correct. It contains more protons than neutrons. So if you see, the protons are lesser and neutrons are greater. So B goes wrong. Its isotope contain different number of protons. No, isotopes doesn't have a different number of protons. Isotopes always has a same number of protons, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then its nucleus contain 9 neutrons. So we have already calculated it's 10 neutrons. So A is the correct answer. I hope it's understandable to all of you. Yes. Now,
Yes, sir.
MCQ number 4. Two of the isotopes of calcium are represented as calcium 20 and calcium 40 and calcium 50. Which statement explains why these isotopes of calcium have identical chemical properties? Okay. So, both isotopes have a same number of neutrons. No, they both have a different number of neutrons, right? The first one is going to have a 20 neutrons and the second one is have a 24 neutrons. So they don't have a same neutrons. The both isotopes have electronic configuration. Yeah, that is correct. And the chemical properties also depend upon electronic configuration that you have to remember. Right? It depends upon electronic configuration. Okay. Both isotopes have a mass number of 20. No. The first one has a mass number of 40 and the second one has a mass number of 44. So C goes wrong. Both isotopes have 4 fully occupied electron shell. Yeah, both have a 4 electron shells, but not fully occupied. So D goes wrong as well. So we are only left with B option. So B is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 5. Which statement describes a property of potassium iodide? Okay, potassium iodide. So it's Ki. Potassium, so it's water soluble, right? It's a group 1 salt. So water soluble. All group ones are water soluble, so it's insoluble in water. A goes wrong. It's a volatile substance, no ionic compound. It has a high melting point. It has a low melting point. No. It conducts electricity when molten. Yes, it's an ionic compound. So yes, it do conduct electricity when it's molten. So D is the correct statement. Now, MCQ number 6. Uh, Methanol CH2O has a boiling point of minus 19 degrees Celsius. At minus 20 degrees Celsius, the liquid methanol is a non-conductor of electricity. In a sample of methanol, each atom of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen has a noble gas electronic configuration. Okay. Yeah, obviously, when they share electron, their outermost shell is completely filled, so they do have a noble gas electronic configuration. Each atom has achieved this electronic configuration in one of the 3 ways. Okay. By gaining electron, losing electron, or sharing electron. So if we talk about methanol, it's a covalent compound, right? So they achieve this by sharing electrons, not by gaining or losing electron. Okay. Which statement describes the bonding between the carbon atom and the oxygen atom in the methanol? So if you go for a structure, it's CH2O. We know carbon formed 4 bonds. So there are 2 hydrogens. So carbon is bonded with the 2 hydrogen and carbon has bonded with the oxygen with a double bond O. The atom and the carbon atom and the oxygen atom share 4 electrons. So there are 2 pairs, 2 bonds, which means that there are 4 electrons. It seems correct. The carbon atom and the oxygen atom share 2 electrons. No, there are 2 bonds. So not 2 electrons. 2 electrons are always involved in 1 bond, right? Carbon is negative ion, not at all. The carbon and oxygen doesn't make ions. So C and D goes wrong. So A is the correct answer. And we have seen that there is a double bond. So double bond means 4 electrons. Now, MCQ number 7. The structure of diamond and graphite are shown. Which statement about diamond and graphite is correct? Okay. So diamond and graphite contain strong covalent bonds between carbon atoms. Yes, that is fine. There are strong covalent bonds. Diamond and graphite have a delocalized electrons. Graphite has, but not diamond. So B goes wrong. Diamond and graphite have layered structure. Graphite has, diamond doesn't have layered structure. So C goes wrong. Diamond and graphite have low melting point. Not at all. Both of them has a high melting point. So A is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 6. Which rock contains a description of a metallic bonding and a property that is explained by the reference of a metallic bond? Okay. So first thing, description, a lattice of negative ions, not at all. It's a lattice of negative ion. It's a lattice of positive ion in a sea of delocalized electron. So it can be either C or D. Okay. A metal will react with an acid producing hydrogen. A piece of metal can be molded into different shapes. So that it reacts with acid to produce hydrogen, it doesn't explain by its definition. It is its reactivity, right? So C goes wrong, and we are left with only option that is D. Yes, it because there is a lattice of positive ions and the delocalized electrons. So the layers of the positive ions uh, do slide over each other. So as a result, the metal can be melted into different shapes. Now, MCQ number 9, what is the relative molecular mass MR of sulfur dioxide? So sulfur dioxide is SO2, sulfur is 32, plus there are two oxygens, so each oxygen is 16. So 16 is 32. So it is going to be 64, which is D. So A, B, and C are wrong. Now, MCQ number 10. Magnetite is an ore of iron which contains the iron 2 positive, iron 3 positive, and O2 negative ions only. What is the formula of magnetite? Okay. So, if it has a 2 positive and 3 positive both, so over here it's -2. So it means that there are two, so each has a -1, so it goes wrong. In this, each iron is +2, not both are +2 and +3, both are doesn't present. So it goes wrong. Over here, it's -2 times 2 makes it -4. So this one is going to be +4. So 3 iron has a +4, no chance. So C goes wrong. So it means we are left with only D option. So D is the correct answer. And if you have to justify it, no net charge, it's -2 times 4 makes it -8. So over here, it's +8. So if it's +8, so won't it be possible that 2 plus 3 and 1 plus 2? So 2 plus 3 makes it +6, +6 and +2 makes it +8. So yeah, D is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 11. Concentrated aqueous sodium chloride and dilute sulfuric acid are both electrolyzed using inert electrodes. Okay. Which identifies the products at cathode in each electrolyte. Okay. So it's a aqueous sodium chloride. So at cathode, we are going to get a hydrogen because hydrogen is less reactive than sodium. And over here, it's a sulfuric acid. So again, there is a cation is only hydrogen. So we are going to get a hydrogen gas. So hydrogen and hydrogen. So it means A, C, and D are wrong. And D is the correct answer. Right? MCQ number 12. Electrolytes can be broken down by the electrolysis, which are correct for each electrolyte. Okay. Dilute aqueous potassium chloride. It's an aqueous, so at cathode, yes. The product at anode. So it's a dilute, so yeah, hydroxide would go and oxygen forms. So yes, statement 1 is correct. Concentrated hydrochloric acid, hydrogen, so chlorine, yes, because it's a concentrated, so chloride ion forms chlorine at anode. So second statement is correct. Molten aluminum oxide. So at cathode, no, we are going to get aluminium, not oxide, concentrated aqueous sodium bromide. So it's an again aqueous, so we are going to get hydrogen at cathode, not sodium. So third and four are wrong. So 1 and 2 are correct. So A is the correct answer. B, C, and D are wrong. So, okay. Now, MCQ number 13. Which statement about hydrogen oxygen fuel cell is correct? Okay. Hydrogen is extracted from clean dry air, not at all. The only product is carbon dioxide. No, it's water, we know. The reaction is endothermic. No, it produces energy, so it's an exothermic. So no toxic gases are produced. So if the first three are wrong, so it means the D fourth would be the correct one. Okay. 14. Which statement defines the activation energy for the reaction? So if you recall the activation energy as we have discussed, activation energy is from the height of the reactants till the highest point. So it's the amount of energy which is always needed to start the reaction or start the barrier to pass the barrier. Okay. The minimum energy that colliding particle must have to react. Yes, because if they do have this energy, then they turn into product. It seems fine. Okay, so maximum energy is not going to be the answer. So C and D are wrong. That endothermic reaction takes in no. So they are specifically talking about endothermic reaction. So B goes wrong as well. A is the correct answer. Because activation energy is not just specific for endothermic reaction, it's also for exothermic reaction as well. Now, MCQ number 15, the equation for the complete combustion of ethyne is shown. The bond energies are listed. We have a chemical equation. What is the enthalpy change of the reaction when 1 mole of ethyne is completely burned? So it means bond broken. So if you see, two of these bonds are broken because there are 2 moles, right? So it is going to be times 2. So can anyone multiply it and tell me the answer? It's bond broken. Then CH, there are 2 and 2. So these are the bonds broken and it is going to be times 4. Then,
Sir,
yes.
it says 1 mole of ethyne. So wouldn't we just use 837? Don't multiply
Okay,
it by
1 mole
2.
of ethyne. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So if 1 mole of, okay, we can do this way. And at the end, we will divide by the 2. Or if we don't do this way, so we are going to keep it times 1, because if I'm assuming 1 mole of this one, so I 2.5 moles of this one, 2 moles of this one, and 1 mole of this one, right? So there are 2 bonds. So CH is going to be times 2. And oxygen is going to be 2.5. So these are the bonds which are broken. Is this clear now? So it is 837. Then 415 times 2 is going to be 830. And 2.5 times 498. Can anyone tell me the answer, please? So if 2 of carbon dioxide are formed, so 1 has 2 bonds, so 2 has 4 bonds. So the bond formed are 8005 times 4. And 1 water has 2 OH
Sir,
bonds. Yes.
why are we dividing the O double bond in half?
Simply, they are asking for 1 mole. So if it's 2 mole, if I'm going to keep it 1 mole, so I need a 2.5 moles. I need 2 moles of carbon dioxide is formed and 1 mole of water is formed, isn't it?
But it's saying 1 mole of ethyne, which is
Yeah,
they're just talking about ethyne.
yeah, so this is ethyne, right?
Yes,
In this equation, how many moles of ethyne are used?
2.
2. So 2 moles of ethyne needs 5 mole of oxygen, right?
Yes.
So if we use 1 mole of ethyne, then obviously half moles of oxygen would be needed.
Okay.
And the 4 moles of carbon dioxide is produced due to 2 moles of ethyne. So now 2 moles of carbon dioxide would produce. And 2 moles of water was produced by the 2 moles of ethyne, but now 1 mole of water has been will produce. Is this clear now?
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So that's why 2.5. So I'm going to multiply it's 2.5. So 1 carbon
It's
dioxide has
1245.
so it's 1245. Okay. And 805 times 4.
3220.
3,320.
220.
3220, and it is going to be 928, right?
Yes.
So if you add these, you are going to get the bond energy of the bonds broken, and if you add these, you are going to get the bond energy of the bonds formed. So can you add the first three values and tell me the answer?
2,912.
2912. And for the rest of the three, or rest of the two? 3148?
For
4148.
4148.
4140.
So the enthalpy change is equals to bond broken minus bond formed. So bond broken is 2912 minus bond form are 4140. Can you subtract these values?
So it's B, minus 1236.
Minus 1236. So A, B, A, C, and D are wrong. Minus 1236. So B is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, MCQ number 16. In experiment 1, a small lump of limestones are added to dilute ethanoic acid at 40 degrees Celsius. The volume of carbon dioxide released is measured at regular time intervals. The graph of these results are shown. Okay. Which changes give the results shown in experiment 2? So if you see, experiment 1 has a higher rate because of a higher gradient. So it's a faster rate, and experiment 2 has a slower rate. So we have to, and the amount of the product formed is same. So we have to figure out which one is going to form a smaller, lower rate. So a lumps of limestone is added. So and the temperature is 40 degree. So at the same temperature with the powder, obviously it is going to wrong because it is going to be the faster rate in reaction to a large lump and say 40. So it is going to give you the same rate. So A and B are wrong. Powder at 60. So increasing the temperature. Okay, over here it's a small lump. Sorry. 1 minute. So it's a small lump and 40. So 60s are going to be wrong because at it will give you the faster rate, and experiment 2 has a slower rate. So temperature 40, the same temperature, but we are using the powders, which increases the rate. So again, B is wrong. So A is correct because same temperature, but we are using the larger lumps, which makes it, which makes the reaction slower. So A is the correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, MCQ number 17. In the Haber process, nitrogen and hydrogen are reacted to make ammonia. The forward reaction is exothermic, which conditions produces the maximum yield of ammonia. Okay, so the forward reaction is exothermic, so it means temperature would be low. At higher temperature, the equilibrium shifts towards the left, and we will get the lesser product. And 2 moles of gases over here and 4 moles of gases over here. So at a higher pressure, equilibrium shifts where there are lesser moles. So higher pressure, D goes wrong because lower pressure shifts the equilibrium where are more moles of gases. So when we do the low pressure, the equilibrium shifts towards the left and the yield of ammonia decreases. So B is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 18. An Oswald process is used to make nitric acid. The conditions used in this process are: number 1, a catalyst containing a transition element, a pressure of 10 atm, pressure and a temperature of 800 degrees Celsius. Which of these conditions are also used in the contact process? Okay. So in contact process, we use a catalyst containing a transition metal. The temperature we use is, or the pressure we use is 2 atm, and the temperature is around 450 degrees Celsius. So second and third statements are not used for the contact process. So second and third are not being used, only one. So A, C, and D goes wrong, and B is the correct answer. I hope till here it's clear to all of you. Now, MCQ number 19. Hydrogen iodide is dissolved in water. Okay, so there is a chemical reaction. The chemical equation is shown of dissolving of hydrogen iodide, which sort describes the final color seen when the solution is tested with damp red litmus paper and with acidified potassium manganate 7. Okay. So there are hydrogen ions, right? So hydrogen ion makes the red litmus paper red because it's acidic. So A and B goes wrong, right? And potassium manganate is an oxidizing agent. And if you recall potassium iodide, so basically iodide is a reducing agent. So when these two react, it goes from purple to colorless, and it's a colorless, it goes from colorless to brown. So at the end, when these two mix, the final color becomes colorless and brown. So we are going to observe brown. So over here, brown. So D goes wrong, and C is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you? Now, MCQ number 20, which statement about aqueous ethanoic acid are correct? Okay. It can be produced by oxidizing ethanol with potassium iodide. Yes, it can be produced by oxidizing ethanol, but not with potassium iodide, because potassium iodide is reducing agent, not oxidizing agent. So statement 1 is wrong. Statement 1 wrong means A and B wrong. It reacts with magnesium to produce hydrogen gas. Yes, it does. Ethanoic acid reacts with magnesium to produce hydrogen gas. It has an approximate pH value of 3. Ethanoic acid is a weak acid. So yeah, you can say that. It produces ester called methanoids. No, it produces ester called ethanoids. So fourth goes wrong, and if fourth goes wrong, then D is incorrect, and we are left with only option C, which is correct. So after we are done with 20 MCQs, now MCQ number 21. Which element forms an acidic oxide? So non-metal forms an acidic oxide, and over here in this, there is this non-metal. So A, B, and C all are metal. So their oxides are not acidic. So only sulfur forms some metal acidic oxide. MCQ number 22, which statement describes the properties of hydrochloric acid? It's an acid. Okay. So carbon dioxide is produced when limestone reacts with hydrochloric acid. Yes, it does. Because limestone is calcium carbonate and they react. That does. Hydrogen is produced when sodium hydroxide. No, when just sodium reacts with the hydrochloric acid, then we can get a hydrogen methyl gas. Miss number point C, methyl turns yellow. No, it turns methyl orange, turns red in hydrochloric acid. So C goes wrong. Red litmus paper turns blue. No, it stays red. So D is wrong as well. So we are left with only option A. So A is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 23, element P and Q have the same number of electron shells. Okay. An atom of Q has more electrons in its outer shell than an atom of P. Which statements are correct? So if we assume that P has a lesser electrons in its outermost shell, so it might be a metal. And Q might be a non-metal because it has a more electrons in its outermost shell, right? So P and Q are in the same group of the periodic table. They have the same number of electron shells. So if they have a same number of electron shells, so how can, and they have a different electron, so they are not going to be part of a same group. They are going to be part of the same period, but not same group. So A and B goes wrong. Okay. P and Q are in the same period of the periodic table. That is statement 2, and being statement 2, yeah, it's correct. एक तो उसमें चीनी नहीं और इतना ही इतनी कड़वी चाय तुम घुट लेके तो
पीनी की होती टेस्ट करती तो आप लोगों को कड़वी लगती है।
okay. So statement 2 is wrong, right? Oh, sorry, statement 2 is correct. Now, if we talk about P has a greater tendency to form positive ion. We have identified P being a metal. So metal do have a greater tendency to form positive ions than non-metals, right? So statement 3 seems to be correct. Okay. Now, till here it's clear to all of you? Just give me 1 minute.
Yes.
Okay. So now, so the third statement is correct. That's what we have identified. Okay. So the oxide of Q, okay, is more basic. So Q being non-metal, its oxide won't going to be basic, it's going to be acidic, right? So statement 4 goes wrong. So if 4 goes wrong, it makes D wrong. So we are left with only option C. So C is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, MCQ number 24. Which substance reacts with dilute sulfuric acid to form a salt that can be removed from the resulting mixture by filtration? Okay. So it means if we have to remove the salt by filtration, so it means that it's a precipitation method and the salt must be insoluble salt. So insoluble salt from, from sulfuric acid. So it might be a sulfate, right? Okay. So when we add sulfuric acid and barium chloride, we will get barium sulfate. So both are aqueous and barium sulfate is a solid. It won't form precipitate. So it might be an answer. Sodium hydroxide. So with sulfuric acid, it will give you sodium sulfate, right? So which is aqueous. So it's not the answer. With copper, sulfuric acid won't react. With copper carbonate, sulfuric acid reacts to form copper sulfate, which is water soluble. So no need of filtration. So we are left with only option A. So A option is correct. Till here, is this clear to all of you? Now, MCQ number 25. Astatine is below iodine in group 7 in the periodic table. Which row describes the properties of astatine? Okay. So obviously, if you look in group 7, we have a fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. So these two are gases, this is liquid, these two are solid. So it means astatine is going to be solid, so A and B are wrong. And it's below, iodine is above. So displaces iodine, no, it can't displace iodine. It does not displace chlorine, bromine, iodine, yes, because of being less reactive. So A, B, and C goes wrong, and D is the correct answer. Till here, is this clear to all of you? Okay. Now MCQ number 26. 1 minute, please, everyone. One minute, please. Okay. Which property of copper explain why it is classified as a transition element? Okay. Copper can be bent into different shapes, so it is the property of all the metals, right? Copper can form Cu2 positive and Cu positive. We are two different oxidation states. That can be an answer. Okay. Copper is a good conductor of electricity. It is the property of all the metals. Copper has a low density. No, copper has a high density. So D is wrong, and we are left with only option B. So B is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 27. Brass is an alloy that is formed from copper and zinc. Which statements are correct? Okay. Brass, copper, and zinc all conduct electricity. Yes, they all conduct electricity. So D goes wrong. Brass is a compound of zinc and iron. No, brass is not a compound. So if brass is not a compound, it's a mixture. So A and B goes wrong. It means we are left with only option C. So C is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Then MCQ number 28, the equation for the reaction of metal M with the aqueous zinc sulfate is shown. Which statement explains why metal M reacts with aqueous zinc sulfate? Okay. Zinc is less reactive than M because M is able to accept the electrons from zinc. No, it is turning into +2. So the first thing is correct, but the second part is not correct. It's able to lose the electron. The M is able to lose the electron to zinc. That can be the correct version. So A is wrong. Zinc is more powerful reducing agent than M. No, because zinc from +2 to turning into 0, it is being reduced. So it means it's an oxidizing agent, not reducing agent. So B goes wrong. Zinc is more reactive than M. No, because metal is M is displacing zinc. Zinc ions can remove electrons from M. Yes, because M is 0, it's turning into M2 +2. So the M loses the electron and zinc is actually doing this. So A goes wrong and D is the correct answer. Till here, is this clear to all of you?
Yes, it's
Now,
clear.
MCQ number 29. In the blast furnace, the impurity silicon 4 oxide is removed by the formation of slag. Which equation represents the formation of a substance which reacts with the silicon 4 oxide to form slag? So if you recall, that calcium oxide do, right? So carbon dioxide and carbon monoxides are formed. This is the correct one, which when it is formed, it reacts with silicon 4 oxide to form slag. So D goes wrong, and we are only left with option C, which is correct. Now, MCQ number 30. Aluminum is extracted from bauxite by electrolysis, which statement is correct. Okay. Aluminum ions are oxidized to form aluminium. No, aluminum ions are 3 positive and they gain electron to turn into aluminium. So it means reduced, not oxidized. A goes wrong. The cathode has to be replaced regularly because it reacts with oxygen. No, oxygen is formed at anode, not cathode. So B goes wrong. Carbon dioxide is produced at anode. Cryolite is added to remove impurities. No, it is added to remove to lower the melting point. So A, B, and D goes wrong, and C is the correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 31. Iron rusts, but aluminium does not easily corrode. Okay. Which statement explains why aluminium does not easily corrode? So aluminium is an alloy. No. It is below iron. No. It is above iron. It is a transition metal. Not at all. So A, B, and C are wrong. So it means D is the correct answer. And yeah, its surface is protected by its oxide layer. Okay. So now MCQ number 32. Which chemical can be used as a fertilizer to provide 3 elements needed for improved plant growth? So we know that for improved plant growth, the 3 elements are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So nitrogen is there, potassium is there, not chlorine. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So all 3 are there. So I think A would not be an answer. Nitrogen, phosphorus, no potassium. So C goes wrong. Nitrogen and potassium, no phosphorus. So D goes wrong. So the correct answer is B. I hope till here it's clear to all of you. Now, MCQ number 33. What is the color change when water is added to anhydrous cobalt to chloride? So cobalt to chloride itself are blue and it goes from blue to pink. That is a memory-based question, so you need to remember. It means A, C, and D options are correct. And if they have asked you about anhydrous copper to sulfate, so it goes from white to colorless. 34. How do carbon dioxide and methane causes global warming? Okay. They emit the thermal energy they have absorbed back to the earth. Yes. They absorb the radiation directly from the sun, so it doesn't have anything to do the global warming. It releases thermal energy. If it's lost to space, so how would be the temperature of the earth would raise? So C is wrong. They reduce the reflection of thermal energy from Earth's surface. No. So basically the radiation which they absorb, they emit back to the earth. So A is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 35. 4 statements about photosynthesis are listed. Chlorophyll is required for photosynthesis. Yes. The equation for the photosynthesis, glucose has been made. Glucose does not react in photosynthesis. So second statement is wrong, and if second is wrong, so C and D goes wrong. The photosynthesis requires energy from the light. Yes, it is. So third, photosynthesis releases carbon dioxide. No, it reuses carbon dioxide. So fourth is wrong, which makes B goes wrong, and it means the correct answer is A. Now, MCQ number 36, which molecules are the structural isomers? Okay. So to be an structural isomer, the formula would be same. So if you see the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 carbons and it's an alkane. So C5H12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are also 5 carbons. So it is going to be C5H12. Now it's an alkene. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is going to be C5H10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 carbon and it's an alkene. So it is going to be C6H12. So these two are not going to be isomer of each other because of different number of carbons and hydrogen. So they do 1 and 3, which is B. So A, C, and D goes wrong, and B is the correct answer.
The 3 should be C5H12, right?
Now, MCQ number 37. Which statement about the reaction of ethene and steam are correct? So, the product has a yes. So ethene is CH2 double bond CH2. When it reacts with the steam, it will give you ethanol, which is CH3 CH2OH. And ethane is C2H6. So obviously this one has one more oxygen, so it has a greater MR than the ethane. So first is correct. The product react with aqueous bromine. Product is an alcohol. It won't react with aqueous bromine. So if won't react with aqueous bromine, so it means A and C goes wrong. The number of electrons shared between carbon atom decreases. So there are 4 number of electrons shared between carbon atoms over here, and there are single bonds. So 2 electrons are shared between the carbon atoms. So yeah, 3 statement is correct. The reaction produces an alcohol and hydrogen. It just produces alcohol, not hydrogen. So fourth goes wrong, which means D is wrong, and we are left with only option B. So B is the correct answer. I hope till here it's clear to all of you. Now MCQ number 38, methane and chlorine reacts to form chloromethane, which row describes the necessary reaction conditions and the type of reaction. Okay, so the type of reaction is substitution, and necessary conditions are ultraviolet light. So C and D goes wrong because type is wrong, and B is wrong because the conditions given to us is wrong. So only option is A. So A is left. So A is the correct answer. I hope till here it's clear to all of you. Now MCQ number 39. Part of the structure of the 2 different polymers X and Y are shown. Okay. Which row describes about the monomer and the linkages between the monomers in the polymer X and polymer Y? Correct. Okay. So if you look at polymer X, the linkage, polymer Y, the linkage. Okay, so if you see the linkage, isn't it? Both have a same linkage. So same linkage, X are the linkages in X are the same as in the linkages in Y. So that makes, and they are saying different linkages, which makes A and C goes wrong. Now monomer X and Y. So if I split it from here and split it from here, so here in X we get the 2 monomers. One is having a C double bond OOH on both sides, and the other one is having a NH2 on both sides. And over here, there is a NH2 and COOH. So each side has a different. So the monomers are different, not same. So D goes wrong, and B is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
MCQ number 40, substance Q is tested using the paper chromatography. The resulting chromatogram is shown. Okay. Which statement is correct? Q is a pure substance. We are getting 2 spots, right? So Q is a pure substance. That is wrong. The RF value of a lower spot is 0.25. So if you see that is half. So over here, the RF value is going to be 0.5. So the lower is doesn't have a RF value of 0.25. It's actually greater than 0.5. So it's not 0.25. So B goes wrong. Q is a mixture of at least 2 different substances. Yes, that's what can be observed. Q is a no, we don't know that it's compound or it's just element, but yeah, it's a mixture of 2 different substances. That is C. So C is the correct answer. Okay. So we are done with 40 MCQs and C is our correct answer. Okay. So yeah, okay. So today we are done with 0620 and inshallah tomorrow we are going to do 15070. Okay.